Well, check this out from earlier in the week. This is when it was snowing in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona, and for some of the city's largest residents, it brought a lot of joy. This is part of the elephant herd at the Reed Park Zoo, one of my favorite zoos I grew up going to. It was a brief flurry of snow, and while most of the animals stayed inside their heated homes, while the elephants went out and played. Rob, you gotta love seeing that kind of stuff. We don't get to see snow here in Arizona, and when we do, we eat it up, but that definitely brings a little bit of joy.
No,
as
absolutely.
Well.
Just watching on the video brings, it warms your heart up a little bit, even though I'm sure,
it's very cold.
The folks down in Old Pueblo getting a little bit on the cold side, but normally you'd have to go to Mountain Lemon to get some snow, correct?
You're absolutely right. So times are changing.
Save your trip and go to the zoo.
There you go.
All right, well, for us here in the desert Southwest, we're not as fortunate as our neighbors in Tucson, but in a sense, we are, because we're looking at a pretty, I guess you can say, nice covered sky. It's a little bit of a change up compared to what we normally get, and yes, we're still pretty cool, but yeah, we hardly got any rainfall today. So here's what we're looking at with your satellite radar perspective. You think by what you're seeing here that we would get a little something, but it kind of just sort of disappeared in and around the desert Southwest and sort of reemerged around the Phoenix area, again stretching down over in the Tucson area as well. Even over in San Diego, they're getting in on some moderate, in some cases even heavier bands of rainfall. And closer to home, you're looking at temperatures in the 60s throughout the Imperial Valley, and then over on the Yuma side of the desert Southwest, we're also checking in the 60s. If anything, we're looking at the mid to high end 60s across the board. So that's what we're dealing with right now, or enjoying, depending on how you view it. Now, your future cast, here's a look at this trough that continues to stay embedded in Southern California. That's the weather maker for the folks in San Diego, Tucson, Phoenix, maybe not so much us, but certainly having at least a minor effect on us. But things will start to flatten out as we get on through the weekend. And as we get through the weekend and get closer to the month of February, we're definitely looking at milder conditions in store for us. And here's a look at what we're seeing in the Pacific Northwest over the weekend. You're going to see a continuation of wet weather in the coastal areas and, of course, the snow in the higher elevations. Your Metrocast, 55 degrees by 7 p.m. We'll check in the high end 40s by midnight before we settle in with a pretty nice day in the making. For Saturday, keep in mind, we'll be in the mid 60s, and we'll raise that bar for Sunday, as I mentioned, and we'll keep raising it through the beginning of February before we start to drop it yet again. The only difference is we're not expecting any chance of rain, or at least significant chance of rain anytime soon, but all in all, we'll take what we can get, and we're going to keep it, at least for the most part, Brando, below normal as far as the temperatures are concerned.